Welcome to Chiti Media. I'm your host Kamal Marishetty. India has been shocked by the gruesome killing yesterday that happened in Udaipur, where an ordinary Hindu tailor was killed by two men posing to be his customers. Two Muslim men with a radical ideology of hate that claimed the life of an innocent Hindu. Once again, we have seen the rise of Islamist terrorist attacks across India, from Kashmir to Kerala, in recent weeks, on one pretext or the other. In To discuss this, we have a very special guest who is a lawyer. He is a human rights activist, and he's joining us from the UK. Namaste, Khalidji. Welcome to Chiti Media.
Namaste ji.
Thank you, Khalidji, for joining us on this very important subject, which I think is not discussed in the way it has to be discussed. We want to unpack at Chiti the various aspects of how such a violent crime can be committed and understand where this is coming from. And my first question to you, Khalidji, is about the mindset. Now, we saw the kind of gruesome killing that happened, and also the glee and the way in which the killers came online. They created a video, and they were smiling about their act. I want to understand, and I'm sure a lot of our audience are, want to understand what is this kind of mindset and what is the, sort of underlying ideology behind this.
Well, it's simple. The ideology and the mindset is simple. It is that you need to dominate by numbers, and if you are lacking in numbers, then you create terror in the hearts of your enemies. This is exactly what the Holy Scriptures said. So you can see that none of these attacks you referred are targeted, be that anywhere in the country, be that in France or Spain or Barcelona or say Nigeria or Bangladesh or Pakistan or India or wherever. It is the same pattern you see. It's not limited to any country or region or any language. It has one source, and that is what I would say the Holy Scriptures of Islam. So the mindset is seeing the world in black and white. Only either you are enemies or you are friends. Either you are with us or you are against us. It is about the domination of the land. It is about the mindset which I would say Nazism is all about. It is of expansion. It's about just domination by sheer force. What they forget today is that now the domination is not based upon numbers, but of quality. And this way of dominating by numbers has been the humanity's way, for centuries, since until recently before the science and technology took over. So the unfortunately, the Muslims are not still ready to understand that this is not the way they could actually dominate. So, and yeah.
Khalidji, this incident is, of course, like I mentioned, is one of many such incidents now in India, and like you mentioned, even in various other countries. In India, in fact, Hindus have been at the receiving end of, Islamist violence for a very long time, for centuries. So it's not a new problem, but certainly it has been taking different shapes and different forms. How deep is the problem, Khalidji?
Well, it is as deep as anything can be to a human being, because when a child is born, the from the lap of from he or she learns from the lap of his mother, that is what ideology is all about. So it is so deep that when a child is born, a Muslim in a Muslim household, you start learning that you are different, you are great, you are the best. You had a religion which is the best in the world, which is you had a prophet which was the best human ever created. Rather, they would say that the whole universe was created for this one person. So it is so much of malignant narcissism ingrained in this ideology, that you actually you cannot believe that a human can be taught such a things, and a human would actually start believing, trusting, and acting on such a vile mindset. But this is how it is, because when a child is being indoctrinated from birth, and then he starts going to school or madrasa, and then obviously the kind of changes, even I would say the physical biological changes you bring about in the brain and structure and cognition, and it's a way of thinking. This is something impossible to actually turn around. The
Right.
only way forward, which I think, is that, well, you take some years, that you stop making more of those zombies,
Right.
and then the ones you have, you pray and hope, and implement laws that
Yes.
they pass on their natural lives, without causing
Right.
harm to the
Right.
society.
Absolutely, Khalidji. And I think to our viewers who are watching us live, I would like to, thank you for joining us, and also please stay with us because we will be taking some questions from the live audience towards the end of the conversation. So do stay with us and do send in your questions towards the end of this conversation. Khalidji, you grew up in Pakistan. Now, you could see the kind of indoctrination that happens in an ordinary madrasa. It's the same story even in India. And I wanted to particularly ask you about this because, if we look at the news today, we have had a statement from the Kerala governor, and I want to, for the benefit of our viewers, read out that statement. And he said, and I quote, "We worry when symptoms come but refuse to notice the deeper disease. Children are being taught in madrasas that punishment for blasphemy is beheading. It's being taught as the law of God. What's being taught there should be examined." And I unquote. Khalidji, this is really pointing to the root cause, at least one of the root causes of this problem. And can you share with our viewers what exactly happens in a madrasa?
Well, by definition, madrasa is an exclusive religious school where Muslim children are taught Quran, Sharia, Hadith, the sayings of the Prophet, and Islamic history of invasions in jihad. So, if we talk about India, the institution of Islamic madrasas in India is as old as the Muslims are in India. It's like 1,000 years. And if you look at the syllabus simply teaches the students to hate all non-Muslims. Simple. Especially the Hindus, because Hindus, being the idol worshippers, are dubbed as the hateful human beings, which we call kafir. So, and then they taught that the end times will not come unless the Hindus and the Kafirs have been wiped out of from the first surface of earth. And Islam is a such a unfortunate faith that life begins after death. So you are living with the hope to once to die, and then after Qiyamah, then the after the Qiyamah, the day of the judgment, and then you will have all the good things which we're looking for in this life. So the Muslims want a Qiyamah to come as soon as possible, and they know from their faith that the Qiyamah will not happen unless the whole humanity has been either converted into Islam, or the Hindus have been wiped out. So this is so difficult, and so I would say vile, ingrained in their mindset. And this is what every madrasa is teaching. And I mean, you even for your benefit, let me say that there are over 2,000 madrasas in the UK,
Right.
and they're growing in numbers. And minimum 100,000 children from age 4 onwards are enrolled, even in this country. And even the number of unregistered seminaries is even higher. So it is a problem all over the world. It's a growing parallel school system which they have created, and they get their license here saying that they are going to teach Muslim subjects Arabic and to recite Quran and lessons in the principles and practices of Islam, etc., interfaith harmony, tolerance, blah blah. But what they taught to British young children is anti-Semitic, extremist, militant, homophobic, and misogynistic. So that is what they teach in Islam and Quran, and to act in a cruel and abusive way. So I would say that before uniform civil code, what India needs is a uniform education code. So there are millions of young minds. I mean, do you know that even in your capital,
Right.
there are 3,000 madrasas in the Indian capital alone?
Right.
And going by, say, 100, you have like 360,000 young minds stuck in the curriculum only in New Delhi, which a curriculum which was developed in the 1700s. And how can you can bring the nation forward when there are millions enrolled in 600,000 madrasas in the whole of the country? There are like 40 to 50 lakh mosques, and they have attached maktabs, along or madrasas attached with them. So this is a very deep rooted problem by the government's figures of 2019, I believe. There are more than 18 million children in 8,500 madrasas in Uttar Pradesh only. I don't know if the figure has changed, even if it has changed, how much?
Yeah.
18 million in children in Uttar Pradesh only.
Wow.
So this is something, I mean, we have been saying a long time that unless you don't stop the avenues of indoctrination, you actually cannot do any good to the society. Not possible, actually, because you are not stopping the factories which are producing these minds day and night. That's the problem.
Absolutely, Khalidji. I think you made a very, very important point that, in fact, far more than a uniform civil code, I think one thing that India urgently needs is a uniform education code. And the indoctrination, the anti-Hindu hate that is being, sort of created because of the madrasas, I think needs to stop. And there must be efforts to stop this kind of hate against Hindus in particular, that is happening all over the country as we speak. Khalidji, the other place, of course, where a lot of indoctrination happens is also the mosques. Now, in recent days, we have seen incidents of stone pelting, incidents of other violence in India, and the reasons keep varying, but the actions remain the same. After we see that, we used to see that in Kashmir, we see that in several other parts of India as well, on Fridays especially, where again people are mobilized, people are taught to hate Hindus, and commit all these violent crimes against them. And I was reminded of something that you had shared earlier, which is about how the Turkish president once said, that the mosque itself is a weapon. So could you also share some light on that?
Well, he actually recited a poem of a from an old Turkish poet, where it was said that the mosques are our tanks, and
Bayonets.
the minarets are barrels of our gun. So it was a symbolic thing to say, but it's very much a reality, because wherever there is a mosque, it becomes the land of Islam. The mosque cannot be by the scripture, cannot be raised, cannot be changed, cannot be removed, even if it is on a disputed land, or a land not belonging to the mosque lawfully. So when we talk of a mosque and madrasa, it is the same thing. Every madrasa has an associated mosque, or a madrasa is a extension of a extension of a mosque. So when and I would simply say that if you don't control the mullah, the mosque, and madrasa, all the three M in you, any peace and communal harmony in India, it cannot happen. It's a pipe dream. It will remain a pipe dream.
Absolutely, Khalidji. I think that sums it up very well. And I also request the audience, if you have questions, please do type them in. And while you do that, Khalidji, I also wanted to ask you about some of the ways in which this problem is being tackled in other countries, and any other suggestions that you think with respect to the way forward in how we have to tackle this problem.
Well, there is in the West, there is a problem, especially in the Western countries. There is a problem of immigrants, and more than 60% of the, rather more than that, immigrants in the recent 40 years have come from the Muslims, from say Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, Yemen, Syria, Sudan. They're all heavily populated Muslim countries, and all the asylum seekers have come from those countries, who have become now part of the society. So and the increasingly the Western nations are seeing that no matter they come here, they become they stay here for 10 years, 20 years, they become what we call naturalized citizens. And when they become a naturalized citizens, they still uh, don't assimilate with the society and the culture, and with the with the laws of this country. They always want Sharia laws. They always want madrasas, and they always want to protect their children from the ills of this society, which they have willingly came and sought protection. So what ironically happens is that they escape from a so-called ruthless society, and when they come here, settle down, they want to make this society again go back on what they were actually claiming to run off from. So this has been a pattern in all over the Western world. So now the governments have increasingly uh, uh, thought that, well, um, once they come to the country, then it becomes impossible for them to send them back, because in the system they stay for 5 years, 10 years, 8 years, and then they have relationships here, children and all that, and human rights come into play, and they cannot be sent back. So it started with Australia, then Israel came in, then Denmark and the UK, they have all joined. What they are doing separately in their country is that they want the asylum seekers to stay in a foreign land and stay there where their cases are processed, their applications are processed, and if they are successful, only then they will be allowed back in the country. So this is, I mean, UK has recently made a pact with Rwanda that all their asylum seekers who are already here since the start of this year, they will be packed and sent back to Rwanda, and they will stay there, and their cases will be dealt with over there. So um, for India, I mean, Muslims, so many Muslims claimed once, ironically, Nasiruddin Shah also said that the Mughals were a peaceful immigrants. So there is a there. I mean, if that is true, the Muslims are peaceful immigrants. Yes, welcome, because they don't belong to Hindustan anyway. But you are only welcome if you are not only sympathetic, but you go by the ethos of this land. But and this is the right of any country, no matter you are a first generation immigrant or you are a 100th generation immigrant. If you still think yourself you are not assimilated in this country, the national government should have the right to strip you of your citizenship, because citizenship, be that by birth or be by that naturalization, demands certain regulations which you need to abide by. If I don't abide by those regulations, then there should be a law to strip you of your citizenship and bundle you back where you belong, if you say so. So I believe that the Indian government needs to I mean, apart from stripping off the madrasas and all their religious education, they need to devise new regulations where somebody who is involved, found to be involved in terrorism, the Indian government should have the right to strip off the nationality of the whole the family of that man, be that his wife or children or whosoever, all the others. The reason, I mean, some people will say, look, this is too it is not realistic, and it is too much of an extremism. No, it is not extremism, because Muslims live in a very joint kind of a society. I would say, like the ones who have committed the crime yesterday, do you want to say that their close ones, the mullah of the mosque or the other people, didn't know that what is harboring, what they are planning to do?
Right.
They definitely knew. This is not possible that two men can only act on their own. It is something which happens as a joint, as a community joint effort. So not only so, there are people who are around them, their friends and their family. Anyone who is found to have the prior knowledge of their actions should also be treated as a criminal. It is not only that they will face the gallows, the ones who have the prior knowledge and they did not act, they did not stop them, they did not inform police, they should also be equally treated as criminals, equally. And I would say that Indian government can also initiate talks with some African countries and some island nations, that these people should be not allowed to stay in this land. They should be like exiled, and they should remain in exile till till say 10 years, 20 years, whatever. We need to see what happens with them. These are extraordinary times, and such extraordinary, apparently cruel or undemocratic or whatever measures need to be taken if you want to, because you have to strike with more of a terror and horror. You have to have a strategy of what we call awe and shock, like what the it's the military strategy what the Americans did in 2003. So it is the philosophy is that you have to hit your enemy with a force which put them into total disarray, and total, it should be a total shock to them. If you keep doing things the way they are doing it, the way they are multiplying in their minds and numbers, and it will become a huge problem. I mean, I see sometimes blessing in disguise that India got partitioned. But just imagine if you at this moment are having 11% of the whole population of Muslims in the world. So India is having the 11% of them. And what if Bangladesh and Pakistan would have been the part of India? You would have more than 40%, and that would have been a catastrophic for the whole of India. So partition in a way came up as a blessing. But now, dealing with these 11%, you need to actually show very strict hands. Otherwise, India is the only country of Hindus. That's the only country where the 90% of the Hindus live. The advantage to the Muslims is that they are spread over the whole world. They have 57 nations where they are in absolute majority. So basically, looking at the world as a country, Hindus are in a big minority. I mean, they are not even 15% of the whole world, as if, according to the religious numbers, demographics. So we need to devise not only ways and means to strip them, to stop this indoctrination, but also anybody found to be committing a crime or terrorism should be dealt very seriously. It is not something that left to the ordinary courts and the lawyers and all that system. It should be something very speedy, and only when you put up a very strict, very strict, shocking response, only then you would be able to stop them. They cannot be taught through logic or reasoning or love or just regulations and appealing and all that. No, the philosophy which believes in terror, creating terror, has to be dealt the same way. That's my gist of my discussion.
Thank you, Khalid. I think I think you mentioned many important points, and I think one of them is, of course, to remember that Hindus are actually a global minority, and in fact, beyond India, there is really no other place where Hindus have can call themselves home, can call it home. And this, I think, a lot of times we sort of completely forget. Because and in fact, some of the questions that we've been getting are also expressing concern about a lot of Hindus themselves who think from a very dhimmi point of view. Dhimmi is the historic word, the dhimmi, right? And also a lot of woke youth who don't really appreciate the gravity of this problem. And I think what would you say to them as well? Because even at a societal level, I think there needs to be a greater recognition of the problem that we face, because we all hear about zero tolerance towards terrorism when it comes to national security, but terrorism is also in India a matter of internal security, and I think that is somehow missed out in the conversation.
Well, all you need to understand for anybody that because the Muslim faith is all about black and white, either you with me or you are against me. So when anyone will come with a axe in his hand, they are not going to actually say that, oh, okay, you are actually from a different party, or you are from you are a liberal, or you are a leftist, or you are from GNU, or blah blah. No, that it 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 is not going to differentiate. So they need to understand that if you stay silent today, that, well, they are not coming to you. So the day they will come to you, then nobody else will be there to stand with you. So this is something, rather a national debate should happen on it.
Absolutely, Khalidji. Many important points that you have made, and I think as as we sort of look for ways forward, we have to remember that it is our right to have border control. It is our right to have and preserve our demography, our culture, our way of life. India is the only country Hindus have, and we've seen that this is not just one incident. In fact, a lot of reporting did not happen when there was another person by the name of Umesh Kolhe in Maharashtra, in Amravati, who was also killed in recent days for the same reason. And of course, we have been seeing over the last few weeks how in Kashmir, Hindus have been killed, ordinary Hindus, bank employees, teachers, you name it. And of course, in several other parts of the country, from Kerala to West
Yes.
Bengal to several other countries. Thank you so much, Khalid ji. We are very grateful that you took out time and shared your perspective on this with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you to our audience. Do let us know in the comment section what you thought about the conversation. We'll be back with another such conversation and more live telecasts. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you and take care. Namaste.
Namaste.